Rodriguez Repairs here with another video, and today we're working on a 2015 Dodge Ram Pro Master City with a 2.4 liter engine. And the reason why this vehicle is here today is because it has an EVAP system code. There's a message in the information center in the dash that says loose gas cap or replace gas cap, and it also has a check engine light on with an EVAP system code that's indicating that it has a small leak. So I'm going to walk through the process I take to diagnose this kind of problems and see if there is truly a small system leak, or maybe the leak detection pump is faulty. These vehicles are equipped with the ESIM system, which I believe stands for EVAP System Integrity Monitor. So I'm going to walk through the steps in how I diagnose this vehicle and see what the problem is. So let's get to it. Okay, the next thing we're going to take out is we're going to take out this air filter pipe here that goes into the throttle body. And the way we're going to do that is first we're going to disconnect this connector here just by pressing on the tab. And then we're going to remove this hose here. And I believe to remove this, you just press both of these tabs like this. And then it just comes out like that. Okay, I'm going to also loosen up this 10 millimeter here. Now we're going to remove these Phillips head screws here from the air filter assembly. There's a screw over here. There's a total of 3 screws. This comes out. Okay. Okay, next we're going to remove the it's a 6 millimeter there, the clamp. We're going to loosen it so we can remove this pipe here. That is a 6 millimeter. Okay, now we can remove the whole assembly. Put it to the side. Okay, so with EVAP system problems, this vehicle has a small leak, and it could be a variety of things. It could be the leak detection pump is detecting a small leak, even though there's really not a small leak because the leak detection pump is gone bad. The purge solenoid could be stuck open, which is causing the EVAP system not to seal. So we need to test the purge solenoid. Or there can actually be a leak in the actual system, like a pinhole in one of the hoses or in the tank, something like that. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to test the purge solenoid. Okay, so I'm going to test the purge solenoid first so I can make sure that the purge solenoid is functioning correctly and it's not being stuck open, creating a small leak. So I got the scanner here, and I'm going to do a purge vapors test. And what this is going to do is it's going to let me operate the purge solenoid while the vehicle is running. And what I want to see is I want to see a change in the fuel trim values. I want to see a change in the O2 sensor value so I can make sure that there is a purging going on. And I want to see the O2 sensor go rich, and I want to see the fuel trims go rich, which is an indication that the purge solenoid is opening when I command it by the scan tool. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and choose purge vapors test. Okay, I'm going to have somebody crank the vehicle. Go ahead and crank the vehicle. Okay, so I'm going to press continue here. Okay guys, so right now I have the purge vapors button here. So when I push this test, it's going to open up the purge solenoid. But what I want to see is I want to see my short-term fuel trim and the O2 sensor. I want to see some change there as I open up the purge solenoid via the scan tool. So we're going to go ahead and just see those pits there. Okay, so I have the O2 sensor and the short-term fuel trim right now. You're seeing variation because it's just by small increments here. It's not really by much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and purge the vapors. Okay, and I'm going to go to flow. And let's see what happens. Look at that. You see the fuel trim's going rich. That means that the purge solenoid is functioning correctly. It's opening. Now let me go ahead and put normal. You see how the engine stumbled a little bit? That's because I'm drastically closing the purge solenoid, and that's creating an uneven fuel trims on the engine because it's going from 13% rich and then going straight to 0%, or it's going lean because of that compensation that's happening. But as you can see, the short-term fuel trim responded, the O2 sensor responded, letting us know that the purge solenoid is functional and it's purging the vapors when commanded. Okay, now that we ruled that the purge solenoid is functional and it's purging the vapors, we're going to now put smoke inside of the EVAP system from the purge all the way to the canister, all the way to the tank, to go ahead and fill up the system. And what I want to see is I want to see a change in fuel tank pressure in the data PID, confirming that it's responding to pressure and it's responding to a release in pressure when I, release the smoke and let it vent into the atmosphere. I'm going to watch the PID, and I want to see that there's a change so I can know that the fuel tank pressure sensor is responding accurately. Okay, so we're going to find our purge solenoid, which is right here. This part goes to the intake manifold. This part goes to the EVAP system. So I'm going to push on these tabs here and remove the hose from the pipe there. Make sure you don't damage the hose because it is plastic and it can break. Now that you have this, if you have the accurate fitting to put in here to test for smoke, then go ahead and do so. But I do not have a fitting. I have this right here. Okay, I'm going to use this because the fitting that I have is too small to fit inside there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. This is normally to check fuel pressure, but it's the correct size for this, like that. And then I'm going to connect this to here, like that. And then I'm going to connect my hose here so that I can put air into the system. Okay, so I have my smoke machine here connected to the EVAP system via this hose. I have my fuel tank pressure PID here. It's reading in Pascal. We're having about 55, which is basically atmospheric pressure. And what I want to do is I want to activate my smoke machine, and I want to see a change in this. Okay, most likely it's going to raise because it's pressure and not vacuum. It's going to raise, and I also want to see it drop when I release the pressure from the EVAP system, indicating that the fuel tank pressure sensor is responding to pressure and is responding to a release in pressure. I got my button here. When I press this button, this is going to insert smoke into the EVAP system. I have my PID there, and I'm going to go ahead and press the button. Let's see what happens. That's exactly what I want to see. I want to see the fuel tank pressure signal respond. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and release the smoke here, and I want to see this drop. There we go. Look at that. Okay, went back to atmospheric pressure. Let me see if I can go ahead and put this back on. There we go. Look at that, it's reading. And I'm going to go ahead and release it. It's going back down one more time. Release it. Okay guys, so that is good enough for me to rule that the fuel tank pressure sensor is responding accurately to pressure or vacuum. Okay, so we can go ahead and put smoke inside of the system and actually make sure that there is no leak in the entire EVAP system. So I went ahead and raised the vehicle up. I'm able to see the EVAP canister, the leak detection pump, okay, the hoses, the tank. Okay, now this system is the ESIM system, which is the EVAP system integrity monitor. And the way this works is this does not have a vent solenoid. This is basically a switch, okay? And what happens is the way this system closes is by gravity, meaning that when there is natural vacuum from the tank or pressure, there's a series of weights in here that move according to the right amount of vacuum or the right amount of pressure, and it seals the system. Okay, and when it seals the system or pressurizes it, there is going to be a switch here that's engaged and sends the signal to the computer to let it know where exactly it's at in terms of the pressure on the tank or the vacuum when the vehicle sits overnight or something like that. So what I'm going to do is, this is the final part, or basically this is where the vehicle vents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this hose out right here, and I'm going to plug this, okay, with my hand, and at the same time I'm going to watch my smoke machine here, okay, and I want to see, okay, when I put smoke, this bullet here is going to go all the way up to the top, okay. As the system starts getting filled with smoke, you know, and it starts filling the system and the whole volume of the system here, it's going to start dropping, okay. And this is basically a 0.04 inches of a leak, and this is a 0.020 inches of a leak, basically a small leak and a large leak. Now, if I put smoke in the system and this does not drop, that means there's a substantially large leak, okay. Or if it drops down to this area here and doesn't go further, that means that there is a, let's say, a 0.030 inches of a leak, okay. And this vehicle is putting the code of a small leak, so I expect this to go all the way down, and once it passes this indicator here, okay, I can confidently say that there is no leak in the system, okay. If I see the bullet go all the way down, of course, when I engage the smoke, right now it's down because there's no smoke being introduced in the system, but once it does, you're going to see the bullet rise, and as it starts filling the system, it's going to drop until once it fills up the whole system completely, it should drop all the way down below this indicator here. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I had to remove the leak detection pump because it came with this hose here, okay, and I need to access this piece here so that I can plug it, and that way I can have my EVAP system be sealed and I can introduce smoke and watch my indicator drop. My system is sealed. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce smoke, and let's watch this indicator here. So that smoke is filling up the system. Okay, we want to see it drop all the way down to the 20 inches, 0.020 inches of a leak. That's what I want to see. So this vehicle does not have a leak, guys. It does not have a small leak. Okay, what's going on is the leak detection pump is faulty, and that's the issue with this vehicle. Look at that. There is no leak in this system. Okay guys, so this vehicle does not have a leak. Okay, the reason why the vehicle is giving the code that there is a small leak is because the leak detection pump, or the ESIM, is faulty. You know, these systems like to get clogged with debris because that hose that runs from the leak detection pump, you know, that you have to take off, there's a filter, okay, and if that filter gets clogged or the filtering becomes inoperative, particles can go in there, debris, and make that leak detection pump go bad, or just wear and tear go bad. But that is the reason why this vehicle is having that code, not because there's no leak. It's not the purge, it's not the fuel tank pressure sensor, because we tested that. So I'm gonna make another video for you guys showing how to replace the leak detection pump properly. Okay, making sure there is no sealing issues, because there is a rubber gasket that goes there, or a rubber O-ring that seals the leak detection pump to the canister, and that has to be installed properly. And since this leak detection pump works via gravity, via the small weights in there, it has to be installed in the same position that you took the leak detection pump out. If you install it, let's say it goes upright, and you install it like this or like that, it's not going to function. The EVAP system is not going to work properly, and it's probably going to give you another code. Okay. Plus, there's really no other way to install it, because it's a pretty one way to install it based on how I took it off. So I'm gonna make another video for that, and stay tuned.